Hello, I'm Helen. Welcome to my channel. This morning I thought I would share with you my concertina in a little bit greater depth, the results of the walnut ink that I made last week. So for those who don't know, I took 4 days last week making some walnut ink. First time I've made the walnut ink, and I'm not an expert, but I like to have a go. So this is the result. So I've made a concertina book like I made with the onion ink. So it's a record of the process I went through and a little bit of experimenting with different mark making and different implements. So I've got front cover and back cover. It's cardboard covered with brown paper, and the inside is lining paper, which is wallpaper that you can get from the hardware store. I decided it would be quite good fun if I could find it, and I have an old dictionary that I use for collage material, and yes, I did have the page that said walnut, so I've got my walnut dictionary definition on the front, which I've done an outline drawing on. So inside first of all I marked the papers with watered down ink. So I've just brush marked the lining paper just to put a bit of a background colour on there, and then I outlined some simple leaf shapes all the way through. And then I used collage papers to put walnuts in along the way. So these first two are the interesting ones because this is the coffee filter that I used when I was making the walnut ink. So I've just simply cut out the walnut shapes from those, but I did love the way the marks on the paper are just lovely. This one here is using a Montana pen, and I'm going to drop a clip in here, but that was my little package that I received through the post, and I had high hopes for the Montana pen, so we can just have a little quick look at me unboxing that and playing with the Montana pens for the first time. And I thought it might be something that I could play with my homemade inks, but also with other inks. These are Montana pens. So they're empty markers. So I've never seen them before, never used one. So I've got a marker which has got I think this is a 0.7 millimeter tip. So it comes with a lid. And so yeah, so there's a stopper in the end, and that's got a spring load in it, so that's going to fit onto there. So, and then inside is a ball bearing, which is going to, so you can shake and keep the ink or the paint agitated. So let's go for it, shall we? Let's give it a go. So I'm just going to draw some ink up into the pipette and put it in. Now these are not very expensive. So that I'm going to push back onto there. This gets screwed back on. So I've got the ink in there. Good piece of paper. And you need to prime these, apparently, like you would a Posca pen. So you have to press quite hard. But I can see the ink coming down the nib of the pen, so it is pretty much full. I don't know whether you can see the colour change on the nib. And I'm getting some ink through. Ooh. But it's writing quite nicely. I'm actually quite liking that. So it's not a, I like to draw with a 0.8 nib. So it's a little bit finer than what I would normally draw with. It's a little bit pointy and scratchy, but I guess with time that's going, the tip is going to wear down. Okay, so I think that's, I'm pretty pleased with that. Is that working? No, so we're going, it's a click-on lid. So there we go, there we are, there's the Montana refillable pens. Then I've gone onwards and I've used different paper here, so I've got brown paper and some more dictionary paper. I found that I actually like drawing with a cotton bud. So for Americans it's a Q-tip, so literally I cut a cotton bud in half, and I've got an old pen that I poke the cotton bud, this one's still a bit damp actually, I poke the cotton bud into the end of the pen and I can just use it like a, it kind of works a bit like a marker pen, so a bit like a felt pen, and you soak the end of the cotton bud and then you can make nice marks with that. So that's a good fun one to do. So this one was with the cotton bud. Again, I've got a piece of coffee filter. I had a play with the bamboo pen. Now that really surprised me in these trials with the ink, is that I always thought that I quite liked a bamboo pen and I liked my dip pen, but it just doesn't work for these inks for me, whether I'm just in a different phase in my drawing life, and the way that I draw now just doesn't lend itself to being a bamboo pen being used. So yeah, so that's a bamboo pen there. This is probably cotton bud. I haven't labelled that one, but that's probably cotton bud again. Another piece of the coffee filter. This one was with a very small brush. This is on a piece of envelope paper that's had some white acrylic scraped on top of it, and then I used the brush to just do some marks on that one. This turns out to be my favourite. So this is using a pipette. So this not necessarily is my favourite drawing, but it's my favourite method of drawing. And a pipette, you can get them in the UK, to come in, I've seen them in packs of 3, and they are tubes that you can draw up some ink, and gently squeezing on it as you draw, you've got an unpredictable amount of ink coming out, and it blobs and blotches and it makes random unpredictable marks, which I find very pleasing. So some of these marks on here have gone really granular, and on previous video I showed you that in my everyday tea sketchbooks, so I'll just drop a clip in here of the close-up of that. It's granulated, it's gone really granular, and yeah, I really like the way that granulates. So that takes a long time to dry. These patches here, they're like puddles of ink, so they take a long time to dry, but you get this wonderful granular effect. The reverse side, I've put my recipe and I've put all of my test results. I didn't do as much dip testing as I did with the onion ink, but I've put my results there. And this time I have put a little bit of a note as to what I would do for next time I make the ink. And the first one is soak for longer. And I've actually got some nuts in soak at the moment, so I'll be doing my next batch very shortly, and seeing if I can modify the recipe a little bit. So soak for longer, cool before straining through the flower pot and then through the coffee filter. Don't use double coffee filters. I don't know why I decided to use double coffee filters, but that took forever to go through. And not to keep reboiling it and to try for a darker ink. So these early ones are they're my favourite colours, these early dipped ones. I still think it's probably because there's a lot of debris in these, so these were dipped in the saucepan, whereas these ones are more refined, they've gone through the coffee filter, but this is the colour that I'm aiming for. So I'm going to have another go over the next few days. So that's my Walnut Ink Concertina, and I've had a lovely time doing that. So I quite like these concertinas as a way of recording what a process is. I quite like them for short trips as well, so I've used concertinas for that as well. It's just nice to have everything all in one place and have it a bit themed. So there we go. That's my Walnut Ink Concertina sketchbook. I'd like to say thank you for watching. I hope this has given you some inspiration to try making some inks for yourself and just having a play. Please like and subscribe, it would really help me. And thanks again. Until next time, bye for now.